The Partings tab is going to allow you to control parts in the hair. So with the hairbrush tool selected, we can brush the guides so that we more or less create what should be a separation. Because of the way that hairs are interpolated, we don't really get a solid part. And if we render, you'll see that there's no defined line going across the object here. Now, we could try to maybe kind of push all of these guides further apart in the hopes that that would create a division. And if we render, you'll see that we still don't get the division we're looking for. So the Partings tab is going to allow us to control this. We have a checkbox for auto parting. If we enable this, we can now adjust a distance and angle setting. The distance and angle are going to allow you to set threshold levels. So for the distance, it's going to look for the distance between guides. If the distance is more than the value in the distance setting here, you will get no part. If the distance is small enough though, and so 10 inches, still not small enough, if we go to something like 2, you'll see that we actually get a part. Now in some cases this can cause unwanted parts because the guides may be further just by default. Now if you want to make sure that the angle is not influencing the part that's being created, you can set the angle to something very high. And that will affect the way that the parting is calculated. The same thing goes if you want to adjust just the angle and not have the distance affect the part that's created. You can set the distance so that it's a very high value, and now the only partings that will be created will be based off of the angle. So in this case, it's just looking at the angle between guides, and if they're greater than the angle set here, you'll get a parting. So by working with these settings, you can create parts automatically without having to worry about setting groups or anything like that. The groups field here is a linked list. And this is going to be what you'll want to use if you want the most control out of where your parts will be created. If I go to the simulation menu and choose the hair selection, let's just choose the rectangle selection here, and select all of these guides, I can then go to simulation and choose hair selection, set selection. I can then go to the other side of the hair, and select the opposite half. And once again, I'll make sure that I'm just off of my set selection there first. Go to Simulation, Hair Selection, and then Set Selection. So now I have 2 hair selections. And we can name these 1 and 2. If I go back to the hair object, I can then drag these selection sets into the Groups option here. And what it's going to do is it's only going to interpolate between hair guides or hairs themselves that are associated with the same group. And in this case, we get a nice part.